are places that seem to hold something, a chill you can't explain, a silence that weighs on you, and sometimes that unmistakable feeling that someone is watching you.
In October 2016, Marcos and Elena, a couple of teachers, moved with their children to an old house surrounded by trees on Palmyra Street. The house had that old-fashioned charm: wooden windows, a spacious veranda, a large yard, and the price, it was almost too good to be true. During the first week, everything seemed fine. But soon, Helena began to notice small, strange things. A door she was sure she had locked was open. The faint sound of footsteps in the hallway at night, and the wall clock that always stopped at the same time, 3:17 in the morning. Marcos laughed and said she was imagining things, until the second week, when something happened that neither of them could explain.
It was a rainy Friday evening. Helena was alone in the kitchen making dinner. Then she heard it, the sound of the old piano in the living room playing a slow, sad melody. But no one in the house could play the piano, and that piano had been locked shut since the day they moved in. When she went to the living room, the sound stopped. The piano was covered in dust, but the lid was open, and the keys had tiny footprints on them, like those of a child. Helena turned off the lights and waited for Marcos to get home. But as soon as he opened the door, the piano started playing again. This time, they both heard it. The notes were slow, off-key, and sounded almost like a cry for help.
Terrified, they decided to call the previous owner, an elderly man named Mr. Augusto. When Helena mentioned the piano, his face went pale. He whispered, "So, it's still there." He explained that the house once belonged to his sister, Laura, who lived there with her little boy, Pedro. But in 1979, a fire broke out in the middle of the night. Laura managed to escape, but little Pedro was trapped inside his room. The piano had been his favorite toy. Since that night, Mr. Augusto said, no one had been able to live in the house for long. Doors slammed by themselves. Toys appeared outside their boxes, and the sound of the piano always returned.
That night, Helena decided to leave a recorder running in the living room. Marcos thought it was silly, but when they listened to the recording the next morning, the voices were there. A child's whisper, "Mommy, it's dark." And then, "Don't leave me alone." They tried to stay calm, but fear crept in. Pictures fell from the walls. Lights flickered, and the clock kept stopping at 3:17 a.m., the exact time of the fire, according to the old records. On the night of October 31st, yes, Halloween, Helena woke up to the sound of laughter in the hallway. She ran to her daughter's room. The girl was sitting up in bed, staring at the wall. When Helena asked what was wrong, the child whispered, "The little boy's sad, Mummy. He wants to play." Helena turned toward the wall, and she clearly saw the shadow of a child holding a toy, but there was no one there. The mother picked up her daughter, and frightening shadows emerged from the walls of the room. She grabbed her daughter, ran to the car, and drove away. She was too scared to think. She drove around until she got into the car and tried to escape.
Marco found his family on the road, and they all left, never to return. Months later, the house was sold again, but the new owners stayed there for only 2 weeks. They reported the same sounds, the piano playing by itself, and said they frequently saw a child standing near the window, waving. Today, the house on Palm Street remains empty, but the neighbors say that on some nights, when the wind blows from the south, it's still possible to hear the same piano melody and the soft voice of a boy whispering, "Mommy, can I play now?"